Are Singaporeans too rigid to be funny? How do we find humour in our own lives? In today's episode, we talk about how we can release our inner child to embrace our inner clown. Hi, my name is Kai Wen and you're listening to Head Start on Record. Now, I'm definitely not a psychologist, but if you love a conversation about human behaviour like I do, I think you're in the right place. I have with me today award-winning clown and actor Shanice Stanislaus.
Huh?
Hi, Shanice. Where do you come from? Do you stay in a basement?
From the clown world.
From the clown world. So are you a good kind of clown or a bad clown?
I'm a fun clown.
Or a killer clown? Shanice studied at Yale NUS and fell in love with clowning during her exchange at NYU Tisch. She has honed her craft since then with her comedy clown Male Audit winning 3 Canadian awards in 2023. So you're repping Singapore quite hard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Putting Singapore on the map as a clown.
As a clown. The red dot on the red dot.
Red nose on the red dot.
Red nose on the red dot. So Shanice, can you roughly tell us what clown is and what do you love about it?
I always tell people clowning is just this sort of childlike character who loves being silly and makes people laugh. But if we go back in time, clowns have always existed in our world for like centuries. I mean, you think about like court jesters, their role was always to, use jokes and make the king laugh and, get him to guess all these riddles. But I always feel like clowns are more than that. They're just here to talk about society's problems packaged up in humor and laughter and fun things so that we can process what's happening out there.
Yeah.
The red nose and the funky outfits that you see are coming from like the circus clowns.
Right, circus clowns.
And
okay.
then, you have birthday clowns. But I'm a bit more of a different kind of clown.
You're a cool clown?
I'm a theatrical
Theatrical clown, right.
So I'm more
All clowns are
modern
cool.
day. I work more in the theatre, TV and film. But across whatever culture or whatever kind of clowning you do, I think one thing that is shared within us is that silliness and the playfulness of the clown. That quality, it exists all the time.
Right. Another thing that I like about clowns is that they are very, should I say shameless? They're not scared of being judged. They are really, really okay with people laughing at them. Because I think many of times I want people to laugh with me but not laugh at me. So as a Singaporean, I do feel like I'm afraid of being judged. And I'm afraid that, I don't really want to do anything funny or out of turn so that I don't get more attention than I should. So do you think that Singaporeans are too uptight, too wound up to be funny?
Okay, I feel like I'm in a very interesting position because I get to teach clowning and perform clowning all over the world. So I always tell people, actually, Singaporeans are one of the funniest people I've
You
ever
think?
met. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, in my professional opinion,
In your professional opinion.
as a clown,
Award-winning clown.
as a clown with experience all over the world, whenever I teach clown workshops here, Singaporeans are the funniest people I've ever met. But the problem is that at the beginning, you don't think that they are capable of being funny. Because I think it's something about our culture that we have here that we feel very ashamed of being judged and failing.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's because there's so many rules and there's so many perceptions of like how you're supposed to be. It kind of creates this like pressure cooker in us that like our creativeness and our expression gets kind of cooked in this pressure cooker and that has no outlet to come out normally when maybe in other places it's more natural that we can have that, but here it's not. And so I think it kind of builds and then suddenly when you are like you can let it go, it's like
So it's explosive.
Yeah,
It's explosive
yeah,
because it's held up, right? It's a
yeah.
pressure cooker.
Yeah, maybe like I feel like a lot of my students, and I'm very privileged because in Singapore I get sent to all kinds of places to teach clowning, like engineers and journalists and scientists, like really different spaces, schools, teachers, business people, and across that I get to see different people with different backgrounds. But I think there is something about like the moment you give someone that permission to be like, you can fail, you can make mistakes, and that's okay. You'll be fine, you'll be safe. And when they realize that, it's like that exhale of like, okay, I can let it go. I can
free.
show my true self now.
Inner child.
And yeah, my inner child can come out now. And I feel safe. And then you see them. I'm very curious, what kind of culture would we actually be if we gave people, if we weren't like, in this system where, we had all these rules and ideas.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of people we would be, because maybe inherently we are very humorous, funny people.
That's true.
But we just never had a chance to show it as much as before.
Like Singaporeans are very sharp. They're very sarcastic sometimes with
Yes.
their words, right? Like, okay, so for an example, like if let's say a mom and a child is walking on the street and then her boy falls down, like trips on a stone or something, the first reaction will be, walk some more, like run some more, that kind of reaction, right? So I just feel like sometimes it's very interesting where Singaporeans they're very harsh with their words. Yeah, which also became like funny.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also I wonder if, because we have all these rules about, creativity and whatever, because there's so much of this like box happening, I wonder if we are now smarter with the kind of comedy we put out there because we just have more rules to think about. Like not
Witty.
anything will just fly, right? So then I think internally we develop this sense of like, okay, I'm going to just like intellectually use my words quickly so that I can like get my point across and my joke across. But maybe it's not a joke, but it might be a joke.
That's true.
Well, like we always talk about Asian parents, right? That's like the common joke, right? Like my mom is gonna, yeah. But then we all share this pain of like,
man, oh my gosh,
like,
shed trauma of the kid.
yeah,
Which colour?
yeah. So then we laugh over it, but actually it's traumatic,
It's traumatic, but it's funny, I guess.
Yeah.
So Shanice, do you think as a country we need to learn how to fail then?
Yeah.
Like, do you think that will make us funnier?
I think we definitely need to learn to fail. I don't know if that correlates to being funnier, but I think it will help us be more accepting of who we are and who we become as people. Yeah. Instead of us all, I don't know what's happening. Are we all trying to be robots? Like sometimes I walk on the streets here. It's like, whose plan are we following? Like what are we working for? What are we living for?
Right.
But the more we be okay with failing and being less hard on ourselves, the more permission we give ourselves to become the kind of people that we actually enjoy being around.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means that you may become more funny. Like, because you just don't care anymore. You can say, okay to like, trip and fall on your face. You don't be so hard on yourself. And I think that's what we need, or the world needs right now.
And also, I think, this is just a sidetrack, I just thought of it. As Singaporeans, we can be quite judgmental. So if, let's say, somebody fails, I think the reason why we have such a mindset where we can't fail is because we're also afraid of how people think of us. And I think as a person, if you're very quick to judge somebody's failure, that also contributes to the entire system, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so if we can be more forgiving, if we can be more, we can let loose a little bit. Yeah, I think as a system that will work lah.
Yeah,
Right.
but it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
I'm one clown here, okay, guys. I'm one person. I'm doing my best to help people.
One person
learn
at a
it.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think humor really is? Or why do people laugh? If we were to strip everything away, like as in essence, what is humor?
Oh my gosh. I
Deep
hate when people
questions.
ask me to define things. Singaporeans like to do that. Why?
Maybe you don't define lah. What is it to you?
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe
In
not.
my experience, I think humor is your point of view about things. Why you laugh at something, like for example, what you laugh at and what I laugh at might be very different. Hence, your point of view on things versus my point of view on things. And that's why, as a clown, it's interesting to work in comedy because everyone's point of views might change all the time. Like, I might do a show that might make some people laugh, and I might get some haters and be cancelled.
The same show, right?
Yeah, the same show.
True.
And that's
True.
because we live in a very diverse world and you have a very different life experience than maybe me. And so my point of view about, for example, Asian parents, right, going back to getting caned or whatever, like if I had parents that cane me, I'm gonna talk about it and it might be like really cathartic and people will laugh.
Right.
But if you had no such experience, you might not find it funny, right? For example, that's just an example. But like, I find that then being a person who works in comedy is like, what is your point of view on things? And then you start to attract the audience that maybe resonates with that, which is fine. I think comedians have learned over time, like, I'm not going to be a comedy maker for every single demographic.
I just want to bring up something that I spoke to you before, and you said that comedy is actually expressing truth and pain through a joyful rapper.
People always ask me, because I teach people how to write for a comedy.
Oh, okay.
And so they're like, what is, like, especially Singaporeans, they're like, give me the 5-step routine on how to be
10-year
funny.
series.
Yeah.
10-year series
and
to be
I'm
funny.
like, okay, this is a very different way of approaching it. But I mean, my first slide, for example, if I do slides, is like comedy equals truth and pain. Because I go back to the clown. The role of the clown is to make people laugh, right? The role of the clown is to talk about things in society. But I also think the role of the clown in, is to give permission to people to feel like alive inside. For example, clown walks, clown falls,
Okay.
right? If you're a society that doesn't let you like fall on your face, we laugh at you. Me doing it on stage and falling on my face and letting people laugh at me is giving permission to the audience that, hey, one day you might go through that and that's okay. People will laugh at you, but I'm still here. That's the clown. We're a bit like a cockroach. Actually, we are. We're like cockroaches. We've survived a long time. But but it's like, no matter what happens to me, I'm still here.
I see.
And that's because we are giving permission to people to be like, that's true. And you're laughing at my pain.
Yeah.
Like the pie being thrown on my face,
Yeah,
or
that's true.
like the show falling apart while I'm performing. People are laughing, and yeah, isn't that, we are always laughing at pain. You're talking about Asian parents hitting you. It's like, we're laughing at pain.
Yeah.
And clowns, we like to share everything with the audience. Like, even when the show is really bad, like in real time, no one's laughing, we kind of have this saying, like, you just stand there and you share your vulnerability with your eyes with the audience, because it's like people want to see that. And actually, audiences are so smart, right? Like, we know when someone is faking something, when someone's pushing too hard to be funny. The point of comedy is actually to be on that line of like, I'm pretty authentic to my suffering right now, especially for a clown. For clowning, it's like, no, I'm sharing everything that's going wrong with you on the stage right now. You're watching me in real time, and it's a very amazing connection to have, because it's like in real time, the audience feels as alive as you, because anything can happen on stage. And I think it's, translated to real life. I'm sure, the listeners who are listening in, they may not want to be professional clowns, but there are some things you can take away from clowning that I feel has helped me, which is, to just share your truth with people, because then it gives them permission to also do that.
Share your truth with people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like how, for example, if I pour like this mug on me, right? Like, instead of being like, everything's okay, like, I'm fine, it's like, oh my gosh, just another day of bad things going wrong. Like,
Right.
it's just those little things.
Don't put up a facade.
Don't put up
really
a
show your
facade.
emotions,
Yes.
your reactions to the moment.
And I think human beings are very perceptive to when people put up facades.
True. Being authentic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big believer of that though.
Like, it's, I mean, whatever, even in sales or different professions, but I talk about sales because, like, you can tell when someone is trying to sell you something hard and the facade of like the agenda or something, but we are very perceptive to that. And so I think we can be much better when we try to chip away at that facade. I think there are places for the facade to happen, but I think Singapore we can work more on less facade,
definitely,
more
yeah.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think facade is one thing. I feel like humor for me is also a tool. I'm not sure if that's the right way to say it. I mean, you are a clown, you would know it is a tool actually. But for you, maybe it's something that you can bring on stage to entertain people, to bring across your message, your pain and truth. For me, as an everyday person, humor is it's a good tool for me to get close to people quickly. Yeah, so I feel on a personal level, back when I was schooling, I always use humor. I mean, I try lah to impress girls with like funny jokes. Sometimes it doesn't work. I go there, hey, hello, what are you doing? I mean, that's me. So that was me. But
So did it work?
no, it didn't work. Don't try. Don't bother. They will just ignore you. Yeah, girls are mean. No, lah. So I think for now, it's more of in a work situation or a social situation where I just use it to break the ice, and it's so useful for me because you go to a meeting, everybody's like you said, like Singaporean, like what are the minutes for today? Like what is the agenda? Like as per my last email. So I just feel like sometimes a joke can really set the scene
Yeah.
properly, and people will break down that facade to just connect human to human instead of office worker to office worker.
Yeah.
I mean, you were in marketing, you know how corporate role feels like.
And
Yeah.
I think it's actually it boils down to safety. Like people want to feel safe in an environment, like no matter what, right? Like whether interpersonal relationships or work. And so when there's humor, it kind of gives a signal that there is a safe space now for you to relax and loosen up and throw in your ideas, especially. And once we sense that, oh, this is a safe place where I can just suggest something and I won't be shot down or won't be fired the next day, it gives us more ease. And then I feel like people work better in a place that they feel more safe in. But the moment you go into a room, and I've been in rooms where like people are like completely like high pressure and there is no breathing room, and you kind of absorb that, and then you don't work your best because your body is in this like fight or flight of like, if I say the wrong thing, I'm gonna make a mistake. And then how do we get our best ideas if we are always constantly in this like survival mode, So I find that humor is very disarming.
It is.
And I noticed that when I walk into a room and I tell people I'm a clown, like that's enough to say, I don't know, it changes the energy of a room.
A good politician can use comedy to their advantage very well. So I would think that a good example would be Obama.
Okay.
Yeah, because his speech he's always very funny, but also he's very professional in a duality that I cannot really understand, where he gives his speeches to world leaders, to citizens around the world, because the US president is very strong, right? It's not just US. But at the same time, he also has a personal touch to his jokes, and it makes you trust him. Yeah, so I also think it's interesting in that manner.
Yeah.
Which is when you mentioned trust, I was like, oh yeah, politicians.
But then,
right?
Okay, politicians is interesting because I think also politicians are always, but like, I think put in the caricature as clouns. Sometimes.
Really?
I don't want to say who I'm talking about, but because I'm going there. But in a bit. But like, because when people are angry at certain ideas and whatever, or like the politician becomes a caricature of a clown, for example. So it really
like a world leader who has a caricature of a clown.
Yeah.
Okay, no names dropped lah.
No names dropped. Yeah. Oh yeah, I don't know.
Interesting, but for that particular person, it worked in his favor lah, right? I mean, he's popular and everything, so
yeah. I mean, but I say that because I find that sometimes, okay, let's not just talk about politicians, but I find that when someone is so serious and so hard set in their ways, they kind of become a clown character for us.
Okay.
To think about, right? Okay. Like, okay, not just politicians, but like that strict discipline master in our school. Like so uptight and so they and then we make fun of that person, right? Because it's like, this person is causing me so much pain. This person, I need to talk about it. So they kind of become like, in our world, like, I don't think clown characters are just all the time like joyful and happy and tee ha ha, like, there are different kinds of like clown characters. Like, for example, we have like the very uptight caricatures of people. If you even watch like movies and TV shows, like the villain or the the person in accounting who doesn't want to help the protagonist because she just needs to do her accounting, and it's like, stop it, and they become kind of the joke as well. So I think clowns come in all shapes and forms.
Right.
And back to your point about humor being disarming.
Yeah.
It's also like, how can we, again, back to our point of view, how can we have a point of view on things, and then it's how you deal with it, right? Like if you're going through, like, for example, I like Discipline Masters. I find them really good clown
Because
characters.
a shared trauma, right, with everybody.
And it's just something about just the way they kind of command the rules. If we go back to that, it's like my point of view, how I deal with such a difficult situation is if I take a step back and like see them and process them and parody them as jokes, it helps me deal with it. Right?
True.
That's what we do with
it's like therapy.
The news,
Yeah.
with politics, with society, with my a mother-in-law that we hate. That's what we do. So
Mother-in-law that
we
we hate.
generally classify these people, and it helps us deal with it. Clowning goes back to who I think we see ourselves as children. So when we're young, we have this ability to play. We fall on our face, we get back up again, or we go, mommy, look at me, I'm a princess or a pirate. And that is like our childlike self.
Right.
And so clowns on stage, when I teach clowning, is like finding a way to link us back to the childlike self in us.
Right, the childlike self. So that's also an important point, because that was part of my intro. Why is it important, and how do we get in touch with that inner child in all of us? Because it's easier said than done, really.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard to be vulnerable in front of people. How do you think we should go about tapping into that side of us?
I think that's why I love my work so much, because people think, clowns just make people laugh.
You think easy?
Yeah. But actually, at the heart of it, I feel like my work is to go in and heal a lot of inner child, a lot of inner
with your company, right?
Yeah.
With your clown workshops.
Yeah, I mean, just being a clown, whether it's like,
man.
making you laugh or like making you... Because joy is a kind of human right as well. In some
course.
places,
Yeah.
like,
Of course.
joy and laughter, it gets stripped away from people because of, war and
circumstances.
But actually, it's our human right to feel joyful.
Yeah,
and so,
definitely.
as a clown, my work is to help first unmask a lot of those things that are holding us back. I think one of the fastest way to do it is to go back to what you love to do as a child. For some people, it was dancing,
Okay.
listening to rock and roll music, buying ice cream. Putting those back in your life again really, really helps. That is a very tangible thing. The second thing is find ways to put more whimsy in your day.
Put more whimsy in your day.
Yeah,
What does
it
that
could be
mean?
that maybe every day from 9 to 5 you work a job and you walk the same route to your bus stop and you walk the same way to your thing.
Cool.
But then you become stale and boring.
So like switch it up.
Switch it up. Yeah. Go take a different route or go on an adventure.
Yeah.
Do something spontaneous, something unexpected, to show your brain that if I can do that, I'll be fine. I'll be safe. I'll be fine. And it can be like micro steps of doing that. Like, I like to give myself a day in a week where I just do something different. I'm not like, maybe I'm not, doing art stuff and go watch a sports game. Like, that's to show my brain that I'm capable of doing new experiences and new things. And it keeps that child alive, because when we're children,
that's nice.
all these experiences are new to us, right?
Yeah.
And then we go to like, maybe that new museum or whatever, and then we're like, oh my god, I'm so excited. Yeah, so like doing that, to invest back into your day like that, it then teaches you like, okay, what else is next? What else is fun? So those are like the
Interesting.
two like more tangible things. And I think the third thing is try to find a sense of humor within your life. stop taking everything so seriously.
Agree.
Yeah, like if you're feeling, and I deal with this with my students, like there are like sometimes very hard things to deal with, like for my smaller students, like big exams coming up, pressures, right? Or like for adults, it's like I have to, earn this money and all that. And it's like, okay, can we just take a bit of a step back and detach ourselves from this pressure? And like, if we were writing a comedy show on our life, how can we look at everything? And it just kind of eases us into not taking everything so seriously. And then when we're in that headspace, it's easier for us to be more resilient to deal with things that are happening. Because when we start finding the jokes in our day, we don't take the hit of the day so personally.
Yeah. Yes.
And so I think those are small ways to do that and to bring that back. And they're not very impossible. It's just it's like I find clowning is more a mindset work than it is physical work.
A clown mentality.
Yeah, a clown's attitude. And I have this thing where I said it in a TED talk I did, but I like to have this idea of putting a clown in my pocket, like to feel like I have a clown in my pocket. So like if I'm going through like a very, and in my work now, sometimes I'm in very high pressure, high stakes, like meeting or like these people with like big things. And then I'm scared. But like, instead of letting it consume me, it's like, okay, like what would my clown do? I have a little clown in my pocket and like, wait, how to do it? What would be fun? Make a few jokes, like suggest a few things. And it helps me just be myself.
I see. So like you consult the little clown, like, and like what would you do in that situation, and then you adopt it lah.
Or like, I do this thing. Oh, actually today, I don't know if you can see it. Okay.
Huh? Do you brought your little...
I like wear clown socks. Oh, can we see it?
Can we see it, Amiru? Great.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Okay, I'll show it to
One
you.
more time.
Clown socks.
These are not fit pics, by the way.
Yeah. So that if I'm really stressed, I'm wearing something really silly and quirky, and then I like know that I feel stressed, but like my socks are really whimsical, and it adds a little bit of a like lightness in there.
Yeah.
So those are my tips.
Yes, thank you. Those are great tips, though. Yeah, you should. You should write a book.
I will add more. I'm still gathering it.
Yeah. Okay, I also want to talk to you about your show. So I mentioned Mail Ordered, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's also interesting where you as a clown, as a comedy performer, Mail Ordered is a very sensitive one in the sense where you're dealing with a sensitive topic, right? And for those of you who don't know, it's more of a human trafficking, right?
Yeah.
Where you use human trafficking as a premise for the show, and then you perform it as a clown show. So, do you think it's also difficult for you to balance between how sensitive a topic is, how serious it is, and how light you should go with your comedy show?
Oof. I mean, when I create shows, I don't really think about that first because that's a restriction. And actually, I find I'm more creative when I'm more free. I never explicitly say this is a human trafficking show. It starts off as a girl in a wedding dress and she's trying to find a husband to buy her for $100,000. That's the show. And I literally do everything possible to get the money. And then throughout the show, it kind of gets revealed this girl is like, in a trafficking ring. And basically the show is about the audience making a choice for her, whether she continues this to save her family or does she like go on and live a life that is in Canada that is more free and she learns feminism. So they kind of decide that. So the trafficking part wasn't like, hey, this is a show about human trafficking, but it was like part of my way of talking about something serious, but I hide it a lot with this frame of like a charming girl here to, play. But then, I think as a clown, you don't know if people like your shows all the time. So I think the sensitivity comes when you test it out with an audience. And the good thing is, when someone likes your show in the show itself as a comedian. Like, if you hear laughs, good job for you, right? If you hear like
crickets.
Like the aircon sound, like the whole time. I mean, like, oh my god, it's a terrible show. Like, get out there, quit your job and get something else. Do something else. So I started to, when I did the show, people really enjoyed it. And then I was like, okay, I guess it wasn't too sensitive. But do I, as a creator, always feel scared to offend people? I think more now than before, because now I feel like culture has changed a lot. We're so offended by a lot of things. And then for mail order, there was one time where I was in this city in Canada where I did the show. I mean, the show has like it's been so well received, but that city, Winnipeg.
Winnipeg.
I mean, I love you, Winnipeg, but Winnipeg was rough. It was like sold out. I mean, it had a lot of people who loved the show, but then there were very strong vocal majority who like really didn't like that I was talking about human trafficking. And I mean, Winnipeg has a history of that in their city, so I really like went through the hornet's nest. And I think when I did that show, unfortunately, there were like incidents where I felt harassed on the street, where people harassed me and they were like, what are you doing here? Why are you doing this? And I started to feel unsafe. And then I think ever since then, I feel like as a creator, I'm a bit more protective or cautious about the kind of work I put out there because of like such a violent interaction that I had that made me feel unsafe to create. And I think, I talk about safety in comedy. I think it's a big thing because you need to feel safe to talk about the things you want to talk about. And I'm quite sensitive to, I don't want to just make comedy for the sake of like, oh, this is my ideas, but like, I really want to resonate with an audience. And so now I'm a bit more, when I make a show, I try to think more about, okay, is this work going to resonate like in a way that it's still my voice? And I'm all about drawing, like I'm pushing the boundaries a little bit with my work because I think that's exciting as a creator to say the things that have not been said. But I definitely do still like juggle and analyze those things. And I'm still, I want to say I'm still pretty young as an artist. Like I feel like, I haven't been doing this like 20, 30 years. And so that might change like when I'm older. I just don't care about anything, But now it's like I'm still finding my creative voice. And so I don't really think I have a fixed idea yet. But definitely Winnipeg put a dent in. I think I was more carefree. And then Winnipeg was like an actual example of sometimes you might write a show and you might actually like feel unsafe. Like physically unsafe for your life. So then, that really does stay with you.
Although I do have to say that I have respect for you. I mean, I have respect for all comedians and, in general and performers who really push the boundaries of what they can talk about because staying safe doesn't get us anywhere, right? It's when we start pushing boundaries and we start shedding light on issues that truly matter. And okay, so because I love stand-up, right? I love watching Stephen Colbert, I love watching Trevor Noah. And Stephen Colbert just got cancelled. Right?
Oh my gosh. And I mean, he's like really an example.
Yeah, exactly.
Like...
exactly. I mean, purely financial reasons was stated by CBS, right? But there were also allegations that said that he was cancelled because of his criticism to Trump. Yeah. And I think that's also one of the examples. But he doesn't stop. He didn't stop. And he's still pushing forward with his messaging. He feels that it's important for people to know. And I really, really respect him for that.
I have a story. So I think last year. So I wrote another show called Money, Money, Money.
Yeah.
And I wrote it in New York for New York Comedy Festival. Very fun show. We're trying to raise 200 million for our Netflix special. In real time, people are giving us money. It's like a fundraising parody. And it went so well. So then we were like, let's tour it again. Cultural context is super important. This is real time example of like when the news change or like when things change, sometimes you need to change your show. But so I took this show to Canada and I had an American collaborator. It was a duo show. And, it did so well in New York. We were like, okay, we'll take it to Canada. We have no problems with this. When we take it to Canada, and this show is about money, it's about economics, it's about the world and how we afford things. Trump put tariffs on Canada. Okay, so, and then he was changing a lot of things in the economy. So in real time, we were like rewriting so many bits of the show to try and keep up with what was literally happening in the world. So we get to Canada And, we've rewritten a lot of things. We've done a preview in Las Vegas. We're like doing this in Canada. And I would tell you that no matter how many rewrites we tried to do and whatever, it's just like that was not the time to talk about fundraising because the Canadians were so hit by the tariffs that they had
It
no...
was personal already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't find it funny. I don't think some of them found it
Yeah.
funny.
And your co-performer was American.
Yeah. Yeah, you said it, Navi. But and that was obviously another layer added onto that. So it's Americans, and then I could feel it. And then it's kind of nice you write a show
man.
and sometimes you're like, that was really great last year and this time I'm doing it and I just hope someone comes and, kidnaps me to outer space because I really need this show to end. But we went through
it's
that
tough.
and it's and that was really an example of sometimes your humor may not work anymore. And that we see that in real
It's
time.
also an element of staying on your toes, right?
Yeah.
Like keeping relevant, knowing what's happening around the world, and really just pushing the boundaries.
Yeah,
pushing
but
the
we
frontiers.
pushed, and that is an example of I don't know, maybe that didn't work.
Yeah.
I don't always make
Unfortunately.
award-winning shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
sometimes
true.
they
That's
award-win
true.
in some place. Like Mail Order, I don't think I'll ever do it in Singapore because it was never made for a Singaporean audience. But so different things, you kind of in terms of sensitivity, you need to know why you're doing things and who you're doing it for.
Will you ever do a show in Singapore?
I did.
Oh.
I did.
Oh, you
One of
did?
my favorite clown shows in Singapore is Who's Our Next Clown.
Ah.
So Esplanade asked me to write a clown show and I wanted to write something relevant to Singapore.
Okay.
So I wrote a show where it's a star search for Singapore's next clown because we have a clown
Star search.
crisis. No one wants, there's not enough clowns in Singapore. So I got
Right.
everyday people to compete to be Singapore's next clown.
Right.
Yeah, and that went really well. I really enjoyed the show. Another show I wrote in Singapore called Red Nose Rap Off.
Oh.
These 3 rap clowns, they got fired from their band, so they decided to use their these 3 clowns got
future.
fired from their jobs, and then they decided to use their skills future credit, take a rap
That's so
course,
interesting.
and become rap stars.
Ah.
And just fun things like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I do want to write
Yeah.
a show
Yeah.
that is a bit more me, I think. We'll see. I have some ideas.
Maybe you can write something about quitting your marketing job.
Oh, I
No.
wrote another show, Die Die Revenge.
Right.
And that's a show, it's a horror comedy about 3 Singaporean ghosts who have to go through a afterlife rehab program to process their unfinished business so they can reincarnate back to Singapore again. But God put the quota to be only 1 rebirth spot. So now they all have to compete.
Even after they die, they have to compete.
And it was
Shanice, I thought you said no competition anymore.
It was a parody about how the Singapore system still lives on in the afterlife.
That's really cool.
And
Right.
I'm trying to write it to be a TV show, so we'll see.
Oh,
if
okay. We'll
you'll
look forward to
yeah,
it.
you'll see it.
Definitely we'll be watching
Yeah,
it.
yeah. But definitely want to
That's so
bring more
cool.
clown shows. I think clown shows are
Yeah.
fun because anything can happen in real time in the
Yeah.
audience.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Are there any clowns you look up to? Or
Yeah.
anybody that inspires you?
Creatively, I think Sacha Baron Cohen is a
Right.
big
Right.
um
Borat.
influence. Yeah, a Taika Waititi.
Oh my god, I love him as a director.
Yeah. I think they both share very similar humor sense that I like.
Yes.
And Sasha also went to the same clown school as me. So, and he really bringing comedy to the screen. And I feel that's the evolution of the clown. We're going past live theater now and we're going into new media. And so I'm very excited because I'm trying to experiment with that in my own practice. How can I bring it to more people and more access to making
Right.
people laugh creatively. And then, okay, I'm very inspired by people. There are a lot of artists who are from these small countries or countries that have, they're not like America, but they've come out of their market and gone on to the global stage.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
yeah. Lisa.
Lisa.
Blackpink Lisa.
Oh, Blackpink Lisa.
Yeah.
Ah,
But
okay,
because
okay,
of
okay, okay.
her ability
I
to
get it,
do
I get
that,
it.
or
Yeah.
Simone Ashley, a few, quite a few.
And for them, it's the spirit lah. Right?
Yeah.
The
Can I
spirit
say
of-
I'm also very inspired by Michael Jackson?
Oh, damn. I
Yeah.
just watched the movie.
Yeah.
That's really good.
And I've always been a fan.
What is it that inspires you about him?
I think really we want to talk about the master of someone's craft. It's him. Like he is the master of his craft. And
Okay.
that is like, you see like years of work.
Like dedication.
Dedication, yeah. Put into like being the best of his kind, you know. And I think that really inspires me to do that. Like, and he came from also a small town.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see that my trajectory, I really want to be somebody who becomes like skilled at what they do, and that's very important to me, and to see how far I can go with this clown thing.
Yeah, that's really nice. I mean, really to put your all into honing something.
Yeah,
to become master at it.
and I think what it is that it teaches me is that we go back to the rules, right? Like there are all these. I mean, that's where I am in my life right now.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm always, and even when I was becoming a clown here, I feel like I'm always told like, oh, you need to do this, and you know, this is the way, and there's no such thing, like clowns don't make it in Singapore. You know, like I'm always like told all these rules, and I think in my lifetime,
who made these rules, right?
Yeah, in my lifetime, it seems that my work is not listening to that noise and to be like, oh, you said no, okay, let me find another way. You know, instead of, oh, you said no, then I can't do it. But it's like, you said no, and so I'm gonna show you another way I can say yes.
Which is really interesting because it brings me back to the clown mentality that you spoke about, right?
Yeah.
Which is adopting the little clown that you have, the mentality of the little clown in your pocket, and then applying it to real life. Right?
Yeah.
So for our viewers, what do you think is the most important thing they can learn from the clown mentality?
There's a few I can share.
Okay.
One is one I love a lot is that be okay to fall on your face. I think that's like we talked about that, and that's more straightforward. The second is anything is possible. The clown has this mentality when we do shows, like the clown always has this kind of, I talked about the optimism that, oh yeah, I can save the world from climate change, or I can, you know, I can be a rock star. Whether you the person have the actual talent and skill, it doesn't matter, because we put on this clown persona that we do have that. And that's where the humor comes in, because you see someone that's desperately trying to do it. And I think that's the kind of optimism that I think we can try. It's like, what would my clown do? Yeah, you said no, but like, how can anything is possible?
Right. Yeah.
Clowning is being yourself.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
And sometimes that is the hardest thing for people to do. I find it. Like, it's about being yourself and really knowing yourself. And that is so vulnerable. And then showing that self to people. And that can be so hard. But once you start that journey of like, oh yeah, I have a point of view. I like this thing. I don't like this thing. I have a voice. I have this idea. You start to be yourself, and you start to find funny in things.
Yeah. And just to add on, I know we mentioned safety, and I know we mentioned truth, right? So I think finding humor, definitely, first of all, you have to be safe. You have to find it in you to be safe. You have to find it in you to make other people feel safe as well. So I think it's a two-way thing. I mean, finding humor is like, oh yeah, how do I be funny? How do I be funny? But also, how do you create an atmosphere where everybody can be enjoying instead of how can I be funny? I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. So I mean, I do have a small anecdote to share just before we close off the show. I have tried one improv class, and I learned this powerful thing called yes and.
Yes.
Which I think in clowning, it works the same way, right? Where we say yes and to something else. Like, for example, hey, I want to be a pirate. You know, you don't say, oh my God, don't be ridiculous. Or what age really you still be a pirate? There's no pirate. Or you can say like, oh yes, you want to be a pirate. And what else? So it's like building upon other people's ideas to create a community. Yeah. And I think that's also one powerful way that we take from clowning, improv, comedy as well. And we can just approach it to our everyday lives. Yeah,
yes, and like think about who are the clowns in your life. There are a couple, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like, I am a clown, but there are so many clowns in Singapore. Like, they're just not official.
You need to
But-
find them.
No, there's so many. Like you just look in your family, you look in your
Right.
friend circle,
My dad's a clown.
the supermarket, like you're gonna find them. They're walking around. It's
Yeah.
just it's not official yet.
They're all hiding in between
Hiding,
us.
yeah, behind some things. Yeah.
And with that, that's all the time we have for this episode on Head Start on Record. Thank you, Shanice, for your time. It's been such a pleasure.
Beep beep.
Once again, my name is Kai Wen, and you can slide into our DMs to suggest another topic you'd like to see me tackle on the show. The links to ST's Head Start newsletter can be found in our podcast show notes. This podcast is produced and edited by Amirul Karim. Thanks for listening, and see you next month. Bye!